Trapped in Limbo is one of those strange DLCs that feels too long and short at the same time. It's a fun idea that feels like it belongs in a different game.
I got you!
Atomic Heart Trapped in Limbo is a strange piece of DLC that may throw players for a loop with how different it is from the main game, and that's absolutely the point, which would be the story's double-edged sword. Trapped in Limbo is the second of 4 planned DLCs and takes place directly after one of the 2 different endings in the main game. This story takes place in the titular world of Limbo and sees P3 stuck voiceless in a furry avatar armed with a gingerbread axe at first. Things get and stay strange right out the gate. P3's voice is muffled and he can only grunt while being followed and guided by Blizna, who takes the form of a strange floating liquid.
So we're in Limbo, both of us, and I really want to fix that. Soon your memories will start coming back and you'll fully acclimate to this world. Then we'll find a way out together.
Players are quickly introduced to the rules of Limbo. It's momentum based and requires quick reflexes. For some, the main thing that stands out when it comes to Trapped in Limbo is the obvious inspiration for the game's main gameplay loop, surfing. More specifically, the surfing game mod made popular by the Counter-Strike community. Trapped in Limbo has multiple sections, the aforementioned surfing section, arena combat, platforming section, and a very strange final section that plays like an endless running mobile game. These sections are mixed at a rate that feels poorly planned out and feels like the developers had ideas for smaller games but decided to just put them all into the DLC rather than just making them standalone experiences, as if they knew there wasn't enough to justify the different styles. The part that players will experience the most is the surfing sections. These can be very frustrating to those who have little to no patience. This part of the game is all trial and error. It doesn't take too long to get the hang of the surfing, but the challenge comes from anticipating the layouts and reacting fast enough to land and maintain or gain momentum, which can be achieved if you can land a good spot. Players that are able to play Atomic Heart at 100+ frames will definitely benefit when it comes to the surfing section. The surfing gets faster and more complex as the level goes on, and having the game running over 30 frames is absolutely the best way to experience Trapped in Limbo. The screen stays busy as Limbo is filled with bright, vibrant colors with a draw distance that allows players to see what kind of surfing challenges lies ahead of them. At times, this beautiful view can be daunting when you finally finish a tough section and you spot the progress bar at the top of the screen showing that you are only 35% through. Depending on your ability to try and fail and try again, the surfing sections can feel a little long and the relief of landing on the checkpoint can be exhilarating. Checkpoints feel properly spaced out and the game is quite forgiving when it comes to players filling a section. After falling off of a platform or hitting a wall, the game instantly puts P3 back on solid ground with no loading screen. Or at least that's the way it was for me since I played on PC with an SSD. Arena combat is another section. These areas help break the surfing gameplay and makes for great stress relief. Sadly, there aren't many of them and they don't last long. Trapped in Limbo reskins enemies and weapons from the main game and doesn't give them any new abilities or attack patterns. In fact, the combat sections feel like an afterthought and was just put in to pad out the DLC. These battles are over so quickly you won't even need to use any of your abilities. But it becomes very evident that these upgrades are not very helpful or useful for players that have set the difficulty below the highest tier. If you miss a platform, you instantly restart, and health only matters during the few and short combat sections and the enemies are barely a threat compared to the ones in the main game, especially since each weapon has unlimited ammo. Trapped in Limbo is a fun idea that feels like it belongs in a different game, especially the last section that takes a complete left turn and starts to continuously introduce new unnecessary rule changes after it turns to Subway Surfers for no real reason.
Buzz off! I'm a scourge to you, Nechayev.
Just one question, Nechayev. Why? The personification of your fears and shame is just disheartening.
The Endless Runner section lasts way too long and was honestly the worst part of the DLC, especially with that non-ending as a reward. Trapped in Limbo is one of those strange DLCs that feels too long and short at the same time. And that may be because the story itself doesn't have a satisfying ending that is obviously going to continue in future DLC. So some players may feel that they achieved nothing and will probably leave Limbo feeling empty and more confused than when they entered.